In this video, we are going to be talking about the reflection of ordered pairs. First, let's review on how to graph an ordered pair. Let's do the first one. The first one says -2 over 1. So for this one, we would go to the left 2 because it's negative, and we would go up 1. The second one is 5, 3. Because it's positive, we are going to go over 5, and then we will go up 3. And our point would be about there. For the last one, it says 3, -4. For this one, we would go over 3, and because it is negative, we would go down 4. And our point would be there. When we're talking about reflection, we're talking about the image that is seen in a mirror or other shiny surface. So let's pretend that our y and our x-axis is a mirror or a lake. If we had a point on our plane over here, it could reflect over here or down here. If we had a point on our coordinate plane over here, it could reflect here or here. So now a point can reflect across either the x-axis or the y-axis. When it's reflecting across the x-axis, we are going to leave the x and we're going to do the opposite to the y. So up here, it is a positive y. So down here, it'll be a negative y. If it was a negative y, we make it a positive. When we're reflecting across the y, we are actually, this time, changing the x and keeping the y. So we went from x to -x, and we kept the y. So let's look at our point over on the right. We have an x and a y. If we were going to reflect it, we would keep the x, but we would change it to a negative y. So it would be reflecting down there. For the bottom one, if we were reflecting across the y, we would change the x, but keep the y. So we would go to the opposite end over on the x, but we would be the same point for the y. So it would reflect as so. So let's just put numbers into it instead of just x and y. So for reflection across the x, we change the y. So for 3, we keep the x. Now it's 2, so we make it -2. For this one, -3, again, we keep the x, but for this one, we would make it a +2. For reflection across the y, this time we change the x. So for the first ordered pair, we have a +3. Well, for reflection, it goes to a -3, and the y stays the same. Let's look at the bottom. -3, so because we're changing the x, it'll be a 3, and we keep the y, so it'll still be a -2. Now we're going to plot the points. So let's do the first one. 3, 2. So we'll go over 3 and up 2, and our point will be there. Now we're going to reflect it. We are just changing the y. So we are still going to go over 3, but this time we are going to go down 2. So as you can see, those images reflect each other across the x. Let's do another one. For the second one, it's -3. So this time we would be going to the left of 0 for a negative, and -2. So we would also be going down. To reflect it across the x, we would keep the x and change the y. So -3, we'd go over again, but this time we would go up 2 to make the reflection. And the last one, reflecting across the y. So we're going to change the x. So for the first one, it's over 3 up 2. Over 3 up 2 would be there. So because we're going to now reflect over the y, we're going to change the x but keep the 2. So, or keep the y. So this time we're going to go -3 but also up 2. Now for the last one, we start with -3, -2. So we're going to go to -3 and down 2. Our point will be there. Now because we're reflecting again across the y, we are going to change the x. So it will be +3 and -2. So we'll go over 3 to the right because that's the positive sign, but we will still be going down 2. I hope that this was a great review for everybody. If there's any questions, post the comment below and maybe we can clarify it for you some more. Thank you.